Gauthier from the HR Rockstars tribe. Hello, this is Johan Gauthier from the HR Rockstars tribe. By the time this is recorded, I probably have repeated myself twice, but I said it again because I didn't know if that was recorded. Anyway, this is really a pleasure, an HR Rockstars Love event, short but spontaneous discussion with my good friend Achim Nowak and Elena Iacono. Achim, it's nice to see you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, good evening.
Elena.
Hi, Elena.
Elena, Achim. So the three of us are gathered here, and as I was mentioning before we went into the hangout, I really want to. We're starting a new habit, joyful habit in the tribe right now that we're doing on a weekly basis, hangouts with our leaders, and we did our last one was with Elena, and you know, Achim is with us tonight, and so I want to allow people to get to know you better, Achim. I mean, you and I are good friends, but beyond that, you know, you've written an amazing book, which has been an inspiration for me ever since I've started reading it. I mean, you speak of energy, you speak of the importance of presence. Over lunch today with Anne Friedman, that was so much fun to listen in. As I was at the Wi-Fi cafe, I wasn't able to connect at the office, so I went at the cafe, and that was really amazing. A 45-minute packed webinar with Anne. You know, so many concepts that resonated on public speaking, the importance of your presence, how to be in the moment, and how to go and flow. So anyway, here I am rambling just now. But I want to give you an opportunity, Achim, just to say hello to people and just, you know, who you are, whatever comes up, you feel like saying, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, one reason I love to play with you, Johan, and you know that is because you are an energy channel, and you attract wonderful energy people to the tribe, which is great. I want to talk a little bit about what I do now, but I'm in the middle of lots of stuff that you don't even know about that I'm moving to the future, and love to talk about this as well. But when I wrote the book Infectious, you know, how to connect deeply and unleash the energetic leader within, which has been out for a year now, that was really what grabbed me was some research that was done at MIT in the Human Dynamics lab. And I'll give you the short version, but it's very compelling, and I love this research because I immediately felt like this is true. And it sort of substantiates what I see with my corporate coaching clients. They took 5 business leaders. They told them that they were going to give a competitive pitch in front of a committee of folks, and only one of them was going to be giving a whole bunch of money from this committee for a business. And then they put them into a cocktail party situation, and they measured what they call their honest signals. And those are the signals that our bodies emit. That's how much we move, how energetic we are, how close we get to people, how much we smile, and all those things. And they measured those, and this was the part that really grabbed me. And they said, after they measured these signals, they said, we know who's going to win the pitch. And they did not know what people were going to talk about. They hadn't seen their materials, their documents, or anything like that. The researchers were Stanley Pentland and Daniel Olquin. And when they were interviewed in Harvard Business Review, they were asked, what's the biggest differentiating factor that makes a person a more successful leader? And they said, personal energy. And I believe that. And the big mistake we make, I believe that, however, this is a caveat, and we have been so, I'm going to use the word intentionally, brainwashed in Jungian thinking, which says that we're either introverts or extroverts. The idea that introverts get the idea from their thoughts and ideas, extroverts from other people. And I'm interested in a much broader take on what energy is. So most countries in the world have a word for something that we call life force, which is, the Hindus call it prana, the Chinese call it chi, the Japanese call it ki. And the moment we access that bigger energy, which is available to introverts and extroverts, it's much bigger than those categories, then people get us on a much stronger vibrational level, and we get to much deeper connections with people, which, number one, makes every relationship more joyful, and people actually really want to work with us. And all this stuff can be learned. It's not difficult. We have just limited ourselves to cognitive, psychological understandings of energy. So I'm going to stop there because that's a lot more, and I could like you babble on forever, but I'm going to stop for now.
Actually, it's Elena, and your point about it being learned resonates with me, because the question I wanted to ask you was, is it innate or is it something that's learned, that personal energy? And when it's learned, is it a derivative of a life-changing experience? And what is your thought on that?
Great question.
I love the question. When I wrote the book, a lot of people, I write about charisma, which is another sort of language we often use, and
Right.
people ask me, is charisma something that you either have or you don't? And I did a lot of research on charisma, and this is where I fall on that end. I believe that, and it really relates to your question about energy, that charisma is a primal, spiritual, sexual energy. So I'm using big language. But the moment you use that language, I believe we all have that energy. So a few people are lucky, and they were brought into this planet with those channels open, and mom and dad didn't shut it down for them. Most of us have been socialized to not express the big energy. So our lifelong journey is to reconnect with those energies. But I believe we all have them. They get expressed in different ways, but there are things we can do to learn to let the stuff out that's already there. It's not about bringing in something that we don't have, but it's about opening the doors.
Basically recharging it, basically.
Yeah, recharging is a wonderful word. I love that word, yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And I guess, yeah, thank you so much, Elena. That was such a great question. And to me, the thought that came to mind when you answered, Achim, is, you know, how do we as individual leaders empower ourselves when we might be surrounded with energy that might deplete us? I think self-love is important, but how can we be a channel of joy or channel energy that helps, you know, be in flow and helps our teams or organization be in flow when there's energies of resistance? And I'm not talking of resistance.
You mean like when you work for the Canadian government?
Oh, come on. You're not supposed to say that. Oh, you're so spontaneous. Yeah. I love my job, but I think I want to, like, the point is being an energy, a channel of energy for people around, and how can we help people carry their own energy by sometimes being quiet or whatever, you know, energy that, you know, helps people move.
There's so many ways to go with that question, and I'm going to get something that comes to mind. I had an hour and a half coaching session today with somebody who is a VP of a big Fortune 500 company that you all know, and this is my second session with him. I really like this guy, and I can describe to you the assets, but the challenges are he has a rebellious attitude. He doesn't like to play by the rules. He thinks process sucks. So there's a lot of hostility in him, you know. So my job in the hour and a half is to, number one, find ways of tapping into the positive in him, to validate those things, to minimize through my constant reframing of the conversation, and to actually get into the stuff that's below. And that's not always easy to do. I would say for people who work in chronically what I call bad energy environments, I wouldn't want to be the one who has to be the shifter. You know, it's too much of a responsibility. I would say find an environment where you're energetically matched with people. And part of, I think, as we evolve in our own personal journey, we attract more and more people who are energetically matched. You know, so the question is, am I really in an environment where, and it's if it's a collective thing, there's always going to be people that push our buttons where we don't like their energy, and then we navigate around it. But it's really about choosing the energetic environments that we play in.
Is that why you chose Miami as a base?
Well,
I had to ask that.
I am very spiritually nurtured by the ocean, by the sun. I try to be in the water every day, and I do believe my job is to find ways of recharging myself, to use Elena's language, which was a great word, And I think if we're going to be effective leaders, we don't have the luxury of not doing that. It's really important that we do it.
No, it's definitely about taking that opportunity and that prioritizing the checks and balances on your own mental breaks, right? Yeah. I have a question about that VP, not that VP in question, but just that model of a VP. When executives or senior leaders work in that mind frame of not really caring, having that negative energy, what have you, are they mindful of the impact that they build on their culture? Do they care? And how do you work that into your coaching?
Well, I can't generalize it, but I might want to be specific about the example. So,
sure.
And I'm going to say this: I really like this guy, but he's been with this company for 25 years. He says, you know, he says, I don't give a shit what people think about me, and my aspirations are not really at work anymore. My aspirations are outside of work with his family and stuff. And so, but the door was, I said to him, you know what? You really don't have the luxury of not having aspirations at work. The moment you're there, you know, you need to have some aspirations, and are you willing to consider between now and then, if you're to come up with 3 aspirations for yourself? And he was startled at first, and the moment you asked the question, the first story he told, and it was a wonderful story. He said, you know, I used to work for a guy. When he wasn't in the office, people missed him, and they were happy when he was there. I want people to feel that way about me. And I said, that's an awesome aspiration. Now let's talk about the things that you're already doing that engender that feeling. And if there are other things you need to do in addition to that, what might those be? But so it's like, you know, finding a way of having a different conversation. But in this case, I had to be tough dad and saying, you know what, it's really not okay for you to say screw work. You know, it's not an option.
No kidding. Particularly at that level. But conversation, yeah.
I'm
what
done.
Was that? You're done. Okay. So what I was going to say is conversation is a dance. Page 20 on infectious. Conversation is an art and it's an dance, and we can all shape conversations. And so the way that you're describing that example, not to pick on that example forever and ever, but you know, it's like, okay, I want people to love me, but start shaping conversations. Be who you. Don't act like a doormat. I heard that before. From Achim, but just be there, be present, be in the flow. But I think, I mean, to me, it requires, I think, being appreciative really helps, because seeing the positive in others opens your own positive channel that others are going to be in the flow because you are. You cannot, I don't think you can impose a flow on others if you don't set an example as a leader. So, but that, you know, requires you to dance with yourself, so to speak, to go back to the original point. Conversation is a dance that starts and ends with yourself. I mean, that's my experience.
No, I agree with everything you said. So I definitely, again, just because we're being concrete with this fellow today, I look for things that I can validate in him, which gives me the permission to then dive to a deeper level. And it was a wonderful dance, and it's funny to work. He and I are about as different as two human beings can be in terms of makeup, interest, whatever. But once you create that conversation, then we're actually dancing together. You know, and our deepest desires are, I think, all of us, we want to be liked, we want to be loved, we want to have friends, we don't want to have enemies at work, but we want to be successful. Nobody wants to fail. Yeah. So the moment we can, and even if it's masked by cynicism or detachment, the moment we can dive to that, then it becomes an interesting conversation.
And it's interesting because all of this. Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
No, I just want to ask one skill set. Sure. because Johan so kindly has been referencing infectious. I do a lot of work with my clients, which are usually very senior level corporate executives, on the ability to elegantly reframe conversations and ask questions that reframe. And it's an invisible skill. We think we're just asking a question, but you're strategically shifting. So in a talk with somebody, if I'm talking for an hour and a half with somebody where there is some resistance and hostility, I'm constantly reframing in elegant ways to see where else we can take stuff.
I love that. We could go on and on and on forever. I'm conscious that this is movie night for you. And
well, may I just want to, because you and I know each other, Elena, I'm going in a bunch of new directions with my work, so I thought I'd just take a minute to share that with you. Because
I would love to hear this.
Thank you so much.
This is stuff that even Johan doesn't know yet, and we talk.
Oh gosh.
So, and it's an evolution of my work. I'm launching a new business in August with a woman named Melanie Roche, who's a really world-renowned energy healer. We've known each other for 25 years. Called eWorks for Business, and eWorks stands for Energy Works.
Oh, wow.
Really taking the energy work to another level, where we really want to take corporate teams of 15 to 20. We're going to offer this in 3 resorts all over the world, in Thailand, in Arizona, and Amsterdam, and we take you away for a weekend, and we help you to be more energetically connected to yourself. And we help you to engage at a higher energy level with other people. And the idea is that you come back refreshed and creatively invigorated, and you're able to play differently with other people afterwards. So it's a natural extension of my work, and I'm working with a woman who's an amazing energy healer, and so that's cool. I want to just pitch something else. I'm pitching a friend's book here. Can you see? And so
Faisal Hawk. Yep.
This is.
Yeah, we can't see it. Just put it a bit.
This is my friend Faisal called Everything Connects.
Yes, I can see it now. Yeah, I can see it.
And I love Faisal's work because I'm into connection, and I believe that everything connects. And Faisal and I are so officially also partnering on some projects. We have a partnership agreement, and we're starting to work with some of the same clients as colleagues, and that's one of the gifts of Twitter and meeting each other and meeting like-minded folks. The third thing, it's
got a lot of. I hope
but he's not busy.
I hope you're taking some time for a summer vacation.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Because I'm here visiting my friend Suzanne Daigle, who Johan also knows, and I have a new book that's about to be pitched to some people in New York, but it's
excellent.
I haven't really talked about a lot, but it's called The Moment.
Oh.
And the subtitle is 4 Keys to a Momentous Life. And
I love it.
The whole idea is really that the more we understand what actually goes on in a moment, it has to do with the memories we bring to any situation. Like I'm talking to Johan right now, but this experience is filtered with all my other memories of Johan. So there's and in a positive way.
Yeah, I know. I hope so.
And the meaning making. Yeah. So it's I'm really excited because it takes something that we all experience, like the micro experience of life, and it drills down to it. And the whole idea is that if we know how to create richer moments, we create more momentous lives. And so that's where I'm going with my work. So Johan, you can see I'm branching into some new directions. Yes.
I love it. This is blissful. I'm not surprised. In fact, I'm so happy for you. This is all good news, really. This is amazing. Like Sue Elliott would say, you're going to change people's life. No kidding. You have already, but this is going to be even greater.
I can't wait to read
Elliott actually has been one of the first people who has looked at my book proposals, and she's a heavenly editor, so she's been helping me a lot with this.
And I love
Sue. You were saying something, and I interrupted you.
Oh no, yes. I just said I can't wait to read this book. You've already hooked me in just by giving me a high-level synopsis. And in fact, one of my most revered coaches always used to tell me, Elena, there's never any bad experiences. There's only experiences. And when you encounter a certain moment or a situation, it's really all about letting go of the past, reflecting on positives, and giving yourself to the situation. So I cannot wait to read your book. Thank you for the preview.
Good.
Yeah, this is so you haven't shared this with anybody yet. So this is like a world premiere, for God's sake.
You've got a lead. You've got a lead tonight, Johan.
There are only 4 or 5 people who know about the new book, but I'm about to hand it off to
Oh my God.
people in New York, so I feel
Oh,
comfortable talking about it, and enough people have
yeah.
the content.
Excellent. Excellent.
Well, we're so blessed, and thank you, Akim, for being such a friend and such a great inspiration for many, many, many people. You've contributed to enrich my life in the last year, and for the people that are listening to us, it's going to be the same. And I want to say thank you for the bottom of my heart, Elena. Over to you, and then over to you, Akim, to close, and then off to a movie night, off for swimming in the river, and off to listening to the news for you, Elena.
Thank you.
Okay, bedtime with Suzanne Daigle.
Oh, shucks, we don't want to know that. It's all good.
I'm just saying
There's popcorn
Elena,
involved.
please.
Yeah, exactly. So, Elena, a few words to say goodbye.
I just wanted to say, first off, Hakeem, it was an immense pleasure to meet you. Johan, thank you for having me this evening. I think the topics that we spoke about are so timely, so rich. The whole idea of bliss and having infectious, joyful workplaces, I think, stems from a leader's ability to give themselves, to connect. And your message resonates deeply with me, and I love this group. So thank you for having me this evening.
I don't think I have anything left to say because you said everything, Elena. That was great. Thank you. Let's continue to create joyful experiences in this community and at work. And if we all do that together, we create a better world. And I'm really happy to be part of it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So on behalf of the HR Rockstars group, thank you, Akim. Thank you, Elena, and thank you all of you. Until next time. Cheers.